Also, a day fun for the kids with reading. Special prizes to be won. Sponsored by Pizza Parlor with live entertainment by Mayara Radio DJs.
Follow us on Instagram. Mayara Radio.
Mayara Radio, taking Mayara to the world.
Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means recognition of the rights of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law. Democracy means equality of opportunity for all in education, in the public service, and in private employment. Democracy means freedom of worship for all, and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race. Our national flag belongs to all our citizens. Our national coat of arms with our national birds inscribed therein is the sacred trust of all our citizens. So it is today. Please, I urge you, let it always be so. Let us always be able to say with the psalmist, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. As the citizens of an independent country, we must preserve the qualities we have developed in the testing period before independence. We must work even harder than in the past. The watchwords I have chosen for the nation are discipline, production, tolerance. I appeal to you to let them ever be your guide to conduct. If we do this, we will build a nation which can hold its head high and be accepted anywhere in the world, and which any other nation will be glad to welcome as a friend. As we march forward to our great day, let us do so as a united people, bridging all the differences of class, race, color, and creed. Let us make a living reality of our new motto. Together we aspire. Together we achieve.
But I again say that I have confidence that ultimately the good sense and the common sense of the majority of people in Trinidad and Tobago will see these options as the best options available to us under the circumstances. And the more we cooperate, the shorter will be the period of purgatory.
We don't know what else to do to get the man in the street to understand how severe this is, but also how important their role is in combating this virus. You have oxygen in your house? You have a heart monitor in your house? You have a ventilator in your house? You have IV set up in your house?
Good morning, Mayaro, and welcome to Seine Talk. Today is July 30th, 2022. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And of course, my new mantra, today is a good day for a good day. And you can imagine, listeners, before we go into our today's program, what would have been happening on the English-speaking islands across the Caribbean at this time, July 30th, 1834. And to bring that in perspective and for you to understand where I'm at, we're going to ask the Calypso King of the Word to bring this morning's introduction of this program today, Seine Talk, Mayaro Radio. Here we go.
I must live from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa.
Follow us on Instagram. Mayara Radio.
Big blood movements.
I must live from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. Well, it was licks like fire from the white slave master every day. Sat down on my knees, weeks and weeks before we crossed the seas to reach in the West Indies. Then he make me work.
Yes, I work.
I said I work.
Yes, I work.
Good Lord, no pay. I toil, I toil, I toil. I say I toil so hard each day. I'm dying. I'm crying. Slave master standing there with a gun. Oh, I know he gon' shoot to kill. So I stay and I pray, but I'm planning still. I study night and day how to break away. I got to make a brilliant escape. But every time I think about the whip and them dogs, my body
Yes, listeners, and welcome to Seine Talk. Yes, we're bright and sunny Saturday morning here in the city of Miaru, and I say a pleasant good morning to the diaspora everywhere in the world, all our listeners. Yes, it's Emancipation Weekend, and hats off to the people of Trinidad and Tobago as it relates to Trinidad and Tobago being the first nation on the planet to recognize Emancipation Day as a national holiday. Even the great United States with Juneteenth came after. That was just the other day. So for those of us old enough to know, August 1st was called Discovery Day, where you celebrated that landing of the pirate Columbus in Moruga. But the facts have it from the journals of the 3 pirate ships that came to our shores that they actually came in at Guaguari Bay and looking in the direction of Moruga, seeing the 3 sisters, and from hence, that's where we got the name, the La Trinity, Trinidad and Tobago. So we know it began in Guaguari. So a pleasant morning to you. And take note that Trinidad and Tobago was the first nation on the planet to recognize Emancipation Day as a public holiday. So good morning to you. And of course, as we do every Saturday, we start off our program by looking at the 3 main dailies here in TNT. But before we do that, we must extend the speediest of recovery to the person of the year, the personality of the year, and the leader of our nation currently, in the person of the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, because yesterday morning it was officially announced that the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has tested positive for COVID-19. Good thing is, the Prime Minister is fully vaccinated and got his boosters. He is showing mild symptoms, but of course, you know he has been removed in terms of self-isolation. And, of course, one of the things that is about the Prime Minister, I term him as a workaholic, and I know those mild symptoms would not keep him down from the duty at hand as the leader of our nation currently. So, speedy recovery to you, Prime Minister, from Mayaro Radio and by extension, Seine Talk, as you deal with this bout of coronavirus. So we go to our dailies, and on the front page of today's Newsday, and mind you listeners, apparently the reading in our community is up, and that's a great thing because I could not get a copy of today's Express at a number of outlets within our community. But the front page of today's Newsday reads, Mystery over Tobago toddler's death. And that story is on page 5. So in your Newsday today, you can look at that. And the big caption is couple shot in bed. Right? Suspect at large as love triangle turns deadly. Overcome. Friends and relatives of murder victim Hollis Valdez and his wife Shireen Bailey Valdez are overcome with grief as their bodies are removed from the crime scene at Rinco Road, Rinco, on Friday. Right, so that is the front page. Again, very sad. And on the back page of today's Newsday, here the headline. India crushes West Indies in first T20. And also we have a picture on the back page. England's Jiva Mentor, second from left, shoots as Trinidad and Tobago Afisha Noel attempts to block during the Pool B netball match between England and Trinidad and Tobago at the NEC on day 1 of the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Here are the results, listeners. England, 74. Trinidad and Tobago, 22. So thank God our community has already taken steps to deal with that deficit. And we will come to that later on in the show. Some good news here. Ace TNT swimmer in Commonwealth finals. Carter goes for 50 fly in, right? So we look forward to that. So on the front page of today's Guardian, listeners, right? The family of Hollis and Shireen Valdez were emotional at their Rinco Road, Las Cuevas home yesterday. Couple in love triangle killed in Las Cuevas, and attacker flees into hills, cops on the hunt. Deadly affair. That's the front page of today's Guardian. Also on the front page of today's Guardian, PM Rowley contracts COVID again. WASA workers protest over restructuring. And on the front page, in a little small caption in the corner, the Lotto jackpot, while we can't compare, and I heard on the news that someone in Ohio, United States would be very popular this morning, having won over $1 billion in a lotto. But here's what. We have our own version here. And tonight, Lotto jackpot stands at $7.3 million. And remember that old saying, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. And on the back page of today's Guardian, and the Guardian is brutal to West Indies. India flogs West Indies again. So remember in primary school, and the youngster said, I want all my teachers to be like the West Indies. So the principal asked, why you want all the teachers to be like the West Indies? You're in love with cricket? He said, no, sir, because the West Indies doesn't beat anybody, so I want all my teachers to be like the West Indies. So West Indies, India flogs West Indies again, because you know, we played 3 ODIs right here at the Queen's Park Oval. And I don't know how you can do that. How can you win a game and then lose it? West Indies had India on the ropes. India with their hands dropped at the side. India looking at the referee to throw in the towel. And boom, somehow West Indies lift up India's hands and take India's hands and knock out the West Indies. Huh. And the third ODI, well, rain just saved the level of embarrassment. So that's the back page of today's Guardian. India flogs West Indies again. And listeners, listen this from our skipper, right, who did well in the second ODI. We lost wickets every time we had some momentum, and that cost us. We had already lost 4 wickets in the first 10 overs, and that cost us the game. West Indies captain Nicholas Puran after the match. Cricket is about making the most runs and not losing your wickets. So we hope that the next, and there are no more games here in TNT, so they go up the islands for the other T20 matches. So we hope that they come alive as it relates to that. So now that the PM has contracted coronavirus again, you know we must look at the stats, at the data as it relates to coronavirus. And here's what. The global deaths of coronavirus today, July 30th, 2022, is 6,417,570. And Trinidad and Tobago's contribution to that in terms of the amount of our citizens who would have passed due to coronavirus is 4,048. Hard one. And just to give a little capsule, here's what. At the Cuba Hospital and Multi-Training Facility, we have 45 patients warded there. Right, 4 are in ICU and 3 are in HDU. At the Cora Hospital, we have 33 patients warded at this time. At the Augustus Long Pointe-a-Pierre, we have 25. At St. Anne's Hospital, the number that we love, 0. At the Arima General Hospital, 13. At the Point Fortin Area Hospital, 0. At the St. James Medical Complex, 0. At the Scarborough Regional Hospital, that's at the Fort, 15 patients. And at the Scarborough General Hospital, that's at Signal Hill, we have 2 patients. So coronavirus is still very much with us, and we must take heed. I want to start from today to bring in the numbers as it relates to murders, because you know what happened in Las Cuevas as it relates to the love triangle, where the couple was shot in their bed after a decision to reconcile their marriage. The third party in the triangle could not deal with that. So the murder count as of today in TNT is 318. So that is 318 too much. And that is the little synopsis as it relates to our dailies. But listeners, we are in the emancipation mode. And my message, very short, a one-liner as it relates to emancipation. And that is reparation. Full stop. We are being conditioned to overlook slavery. We are being conditioned to stay, well, that was then, we get over that, look at things better. There are a number of atrocities that would have happened across the planet since then that did not even meet 10%. Did not even meet 10% in terms of years of sufferation and the amount of death. Right? Your names were taken away, your language, your religion. All right? You were separated, families were separated. Right? For over 400 years. Coming September 11th, and that's 2001, September 11th, all this commotion, you must always remember. The Holocaust, there are laws in place. If you disrespect the acknowledgement of the suffering of those people in the Holocaust, and there was not even 10% of those killed within the slave trade, one must remember that the African person is the first globally traded commodity on the planet or the existence of this planet. The African male is the first globally traded commodity. So when you can go anywhere in the world and drink a Pepsi or anywhere in the world and drink a Coke, there was something that was traded across the planet first before any other product. And that was the African man. So thanks to the United Nations, it's a start. It's not no big hooray, but it's a start thanks to the United Nations as they have recognized this decade, the decade which has started since 2015 to 2024 as the decade of recognition of persons of African descent. So this emancipation, we must take stock of ourselves and make sure that we teach the children what would have happened in 1834 and culminated in 1838 with the enactment of the freedom of slaves in the English-speaking Caribbean. And today, we must always keep that and understand. And we must ask persons, I think Haiti would have just paid their last set of monies to the plantation owners who would have left Haiti and would have gone to the United States in New Orleans. And that's something that we must not forget, and we must get our just due for the sufferation of our fathers and our forefathers based on slavery, the most cruel and the most heinous atrocity against mankind, the greatest sin since the culmination of this planet. And the heads of the mother country put together a speech, and then that speech was taken in sound by one of the greatest sons of the soil of the Caribbean. And in my view, his greatest composition, and that would be, we're coming with Robert Nesta Marley, who is going to come and bring us something as we celebrate Emancipation 2022. Yes, we're going to hear from Robert Nesta Marley, Bob Marley, and War.
Until the philosophy which old one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Everywhere is war. It's a war that until they're no longer first class and second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. Miss a war that until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race. And it's a war that until that day, the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, rule of international morality will remaining but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained. Now everywhere is war, war, and until the ignoble and unhappy regime that hold our brothers in Angola, in Mozambique, South Africa, subhuman bondage have been toppled, totally destroyed. Well, everywhere is war. Me say war. War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south, war, rumors of a war. And until that day, the African continent
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try to take our first interview. Good morning, and how are you, sir?
All is well, thank God.
Great. Listeners, we have on the line the first citizen of the region of Miaro, Rio Claro, Regional Corporation, in the person of Alderman Raymond Cozier, the chairman of the Miaro, Rio Claro Regional Corporation. Good morning, chairman.
Good morning to you, Councillor Wendell Perez. Good morning to all your listening audience. Blessed Saturday to all.
Great. So thank you so very much on this busy Saturday morning for taking our call to bring the persons across our region up to date in terms of what is happening. But before we go into that, Chairman, we would have had the passing away when you held other caps before this great cap that you're wearing at this time, in terms of a sister who would have impacted the oil fields from way back then, who would have passed recently, and the family who would be known as a significant Guaguayari family, that sister would have passed a couple of days ago. So I just wanted you to bring a little comment and extend condolences to the family in the passing of that sister relation. So I just want to open up with that for you to express some condolences on the passing of that sister.
Certainly. That's Sister Linda Sydney Codogan.
Yes.
We would have had umpteen years of relationship. At one time, she was my neighbor, living in the oil field. But as you rightly said, the Sydney family was, we could say, one of the founding families of the oil field in Abyssinia. One of the largest family, and one of the families that created the most impact in Abyssinia Guaiguari community. A very big family, sisters, brothers, nieces, great nieces, great nephews, great nieces and nephews. A very big family. I would have had conversation with her son Ricky yesterday. It happened in a very shocking way. Just as she died, in a way how they live. She cooked, prepared a lot of meals, crab and all different things. She cooked and carried for a friend. And while she was at this friend, this mishap, this dread situation took place. So it's a great loss to the Texaco Petrotrin Trintoc family, and we would have been having some losses for a while now.
Yes.
And we are in that era. We in the area where the elders are leaving, and it's a reality that we have to face. However, it is sad, and I express on behalf of my family, on behalf of the region, on behalf of the Guaiguari community, I express deep condolences to the Sydney, the guys, family on the loss of Linda.
Great. Yes. Thank you there, First Citizen. So we now move on to the basis of this interview. Right. During the existence of the region, it is the first time an exercise of this sort is being attempted, and I know a lot of work have been ongoing as it relates to this, an initiative that is championed by you. So I wanted to bring our listeners across the region up to date with what is your plans as it relates to the Corporation Week 2022. So I'm now opening the floor to you, starting off with the dates for the Corporation Week 2022.
So I'm really grateful and appreciate this opportunity, because, as you rightly said, it is the first. The corporation would have embarked on a number of initiatives over the years, but it's the first time that we are having something called Corporation Week, and It's my initiative together with all members of council because I brought it to everyone and everyone got on board immediately. And the intent is to a week of celebration, celebrating our region, recognizing our region, recognizing folks and heroes, local heroes in our region, creating an opportunity for our region to come together, creating an opportunity for giving youth entrepreneurs an opportunity to come out and openly establish their businesses, and an opportunity to create opportunities for children. So in all, it is an opportunity to share information to members of the region, all the citizens of our region, of what the corporation do. Some people feel the corporation just for one thing, and it's so many things that people don't know about the corporation. There are people in this region don't even know where the corporation is. So this week it is organized. It is not perfect, because we are not perfect people, but it is the first initiative. It took a lot. I am grateful for all the corporate sponsors who accepted the idea and willing to take charge of different events and to make this thing happen. I am grateful to you and all your members of council and all my staff and all the people who are working assiduously, who are working really hard to make this event a memorable one. So, having said that, we starting off the first day, which is on the 7th of August, with a parade, a street parade. This parade comprises representatives of all the NGOs in the region of Rio Claro, of all the different organizations, and that is that we want to partner with all the organizations. We want them to be part of all what's happening. We want them to feel part of the regional corporation, because the regional corporation is for the people and of the people. The regional corporation is there for the people of the region, right? So we have that. The parade is street parade. Comprises of all the different NGOs, some workers, right? The Mero Scout Band. We had planned for the cadets and so, but based on the mask situation was a negative feature for them. And then, well, recently mask rule came and moved, right? It was removed. But however, so the parade is comprises of local entities, right? And it is happening in Mayaro. We are starting at the
BPTTV Resource Center.
Mayaro Resource Center. And then we are paraded up to the junction, across the gas station area, come back down in front of the park and go down to the Mayaro Government School ground. Down at that ground, we would have an official opening of the Corporation Week. We will have stage there. We will have tents set up there. We are working on a booth for that, and we'll call an information booth. That booth, you'll go into that booth and get all different information of the Mayaro Regional Corporation, all the past chairmen and so forth. The official function will take the form. We invite the minister and MP and all past chairmen. We also will have some awarding of local heroes, of local people who we try to recognize, try to identify people who we think are deserving of some recognition, and that will take place and we'll do that on that morning. Also, we'll have some live performances, and then we have an evening with the kids. We'll have in Bouncy Castle face painting, candy, popcorns, and all these different things to occupy kids for the day. And then Monday we have in that will be in Rio. we having a parade of the youths. Sunday we had parade of residents. Monday we have parade of all the vehicles and equipment of the Mayor of Region. People to see the vehicle and strength of the corporation. And we also having award of employees, a recognition of employees. We are recognizing workers and giving them some certificate of recognition, years of service in the regional corporation. That will be done on Monday, right? So 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35, 40 years, because there's people who are make up to 40, 42 years service, right? We are giving them some recognition. And so that's Monday. On Tuesday, we call it Thankful Tuesday. And this Thankful Tuesday, we really want the citizenry of Rio Claro to appreciate the opportunity that we have designated a day for the region to give thanks. So we also included in that Thanksgiving a clothes distribution exercise. All right. Right now we are embarking on a clothes collection drive. I know that there are plenty of us in this region has clothes that we want to donate and don't really know what to do with it. And it takes some time to probably to sort them out to put it together to give away. But this is an opportunity you are getting. Spend some time over the weekend and put those clothes, pull out those clothes that you're not using, that is still good, that someone else who is in need will glad to have it, and that you are ready to depart from it. Not that you're departing because it's not good, but it's departing because you're not using, and someone else will be extremely happy for it. That is a blessing. There are more blessings in giving than receiving. So we create this opportunity for you to be blessed, for you to get more blessings. Right? And we have identified 3 locations in the region for clothes collection. And even said you call me, you call your counselor, any one of the counselors, give them a call, let them know that we have clothes to collect. We will make arrangement and send someone to collect the clothes. But we want that to be done within this weekend and early next week, because the following week is even. We have to sort out all the clothes, and plus we have linked with someone from out of the region who also will be coming with a lot of clothes to distribute. So on Tuesday we want a massive amount of people to come to collect things. Come with your bag. Come with your bag for clothes. Come with your bag for food stuff. Come with your bag because it's Thankful Tuesday. All who are able to donate, come Tuesday and donate. All who have clothes, we do that between now and next Wednesday. Please go and put all your clothes together. Let us collect those clothes and ease up your closet. Ease up your closet and also make someone else comfortable. Make someone else feel happy. Right? So that is Thankful Tuesday. Right? We are looking forward for a grand Thanksgiving Tuesday. So we name it Thankful Tuesday. Okay? On Wednesday, we having the public speaking competition. We call that, that My Voice Matters. Right? And we are giving the children 5 to 8 and 8 to 12 the opportunity to share with us what education post-COVID should look like to them. We know COVID traumatized our children. COVID made our children had to dig very deep, and parents had to dig very deep, had to make all different rearranging of their whole schedule and their life. Children were confronted with situations they had never planned before. We are grateful for all those who withstood that challenge and still survived, still excelled. And then for these young ones now going forward, COVID had changed a lot of things. So we want to hear from these children what education should look like to them after COVID-19. And listen, you would be amazed of the videos presented by these young 5 to 8 and 8 to 10, 8 to 12 kids. Because what we did, we made them do a few minutes video and post it to us. and we have judges who went through those videos and selected finalists. So on Wednesday, all the finalists would be at the corporation chamber doing that competition, which would be live, so that the whole world will be able to see our young children of Mayaro, of the region of Mayaro, Rio Claro. Right? And then on Thursday, we say it's a charitable event. So we have identified some needed senior citizens in our region, in the region of Rio Claro, that we want to do some minor repairs to their building, to their home. Right? And on that Thursday, members will be out there doing those exercises. We obviously will film them and have them do some live and show what we are doing and what we did. And I'm thankful that's charitable event on Thursday. On Friday, it's Youth Entrepreneurial Symposium. So what we do, we put out an ad out there and an opportunity for people to register. All the young entrepreneurs in the region of Rio Claro, we give that day for about 19 to 20 of them to come out there. We'll have tents out there. It's at the Rio Claro car park. So we'll have tents, we'll have music, we'll have some live performances. We will have people to bring motivational speakers onto them. We'll have other agencies there with tents so that they could get information relative to business and financial assistance. Also, we have people going around to different tents and talking with the young entrepreneurs on strategies and policies and ideas of how to strengthen and grow their businesses as youths. Right? That should be another phenomenal day, because we cannot we can't only have our youth depend on employment. We have to step out of that phase. We have to be able to do business. We have to be able to invest. We have to be able to manage our investments. So that is a big day for us also. Then on Saturday, we create a day for workers and their family, which is we use as a team building exercise, a day that family and workers and members of council, members of administration would come together and create that camaraderie, create that cohesion, create that strengthen a relationship, because it is important for administration and council and family to work together on the benefit of the people of Rio Claro. So that day is Saturday. That will be held at the Shell Recreation Ground. The Youth Symposium, as I said, Rio Claro Car Park. And then on Sunday, the grand finale would be the roast fish competition at Point Radix Road, Ottawa. That we have registration of competitors taking place. People are registering. And also, while the roast fish is going on, we also have a beach fest, a lot of activities for the beach. We have some night performances, and that event is coordinated by the Council for Cocoa and African, Council Real Kisoon. So, all in all, that idea of the whole activities for Rio Claro Corporation Week. I want to thank a number of the corporate sponsors who are taking part and taking charge of events. We have BP on board, we have Shell on board, we have National Energy on board, we have NEC on board, we have Food King Prasad on board, we have Unicom on board, we have SM Jalil on board, and all the listing of all the sponsors and partners will be published and established properly, so that all will get their mileage for their assistance and partnering with the Rio Claro Corporation for this event. You know, you hear people talking about, oh, the corporation have money and they're doing this and that. Regardless of whatever is happening, we still have a corporation, have a region to run. We still have a region to recognize people. We still have to create opportunities. We still have to recognize people. We can't just say, okay, the country don't have money and sit and do nothing. Okay? We still have to be positive. We still have to encourage people. We still have to create activities in our region. You know, and it's on that that frame of mind. It's under that idea that this whole operation we came about where we create activities in our region. So, so again, I really am grateful for the opportunity to have the opportunity to go a little deep in explaining all the activities of the corporation, the reason, the purpose behind everything that we're trying to do. And again, to thank all who are working hard to make this happen. People are working really extremely hard to make this happen. Right now, I'm leaving here. I'm going to the office to continue to spend all day putting things together. So we are expecting a great week ahead of activities. I'm trusting the Lord. We are praying on this all the time for His blessings, so guidance, protection, for incident-free, accident-free, and all the prayer warriors out there. I'm calling on you to lift this corporation week in prayer. You know, we're not on no wine and jam and bacchanal thing, right? It's positivity, right? It's togetherness. So keep it in prayer so that we'll have a truly enjoyable, a truly united and successful week.
Yes,
so,
yes, for citizens, and we applaud and we take the information, and yes, we are giving all that in-depth information on the grassroots information platform of the region, Mayaro Radio, here on Saint Talk. But first citizen, in the capacity as the first citizen, the most senior representative at any level of the region, in the person of you, Chairman Alderman Raymond Cozier, now on the fact that in the next couple of days we would be celebrating emancipation, and it would be, we know that Corporation Week comes after, but as our first citizen, I want to give you the opportunity to bring an emancipation greeting also, because we are humbled and we are glad that you take the time out based on your busy schedule to share some time with us and the people who tune in to Mayaro Radio. But we must give you that opportunity to bring some greetings as it relates to Emancipation Day 2022.
And I really am really thankful for this opportunity. So yesterday we had the Mayaro Regional Corporation had our emancipation celebration at the Rio Claro car park. It didn't get the kind of turnout that I would have expected. However, we had our celebration yesterday. I want to take this opportunity to also share with all the listening audience, happy Emancipation Day. You know, I want to go further also and say that Trinidad and Tobago were the first nation to establish a public holiday recognizing emancipation. And I think this year is the 37th year since that decision was taken. So our small nation is still ahead in a lot of things, and we must recognize that. But I also want to share with us that, when Emancipation Day, we come out in our clothes, in our song. We come out in our clothes, in our song. We come out in our headwear and marches, and which is good. But I want us to understand where we came from and the sacrifices our ancestors made to come out of that place. We were not freed from slavery and enslavement because they loved us. We wasn't given freedom because they just wanted to free us. We were freed because of the struggles and the fight that was fought, the resistance that was put up, right? The strikes, the burning down of fields, right? The total resistance to the system that was established, all contributed to them having very little choice but to free us. And it showed the resilience of our people. It showed the fortitude and the determination of our people. It shows the commitment and dedication of the people willing to make whatever sacrifices to make changes. And that resilience, that determination, that willingness to sacrifice should continue to be in us to make the different changes in our lives, because we were given, now that we moved from there, at that time we were hindered from communicating. We couldn't communicate. Like they put us in different tribes that we couldn't communicate, we couldn't plan. They prevented us from having families. They took away our language, our culture, everything, our century, our worship, everything was taken away. Now we have that opportunity. We have freedom of speech. We have the ability to educate ourselves. We have that ability to create, to capitalize on opportunities that's available for us. We have a number of opportunities that are available for us on doing things, on being resilient. Because if we watch things negatively, we can say, well, there's nothing to do and we don't have nothing, we have no work. But we have to be resilient, because at the end of the day, we as a people, as a nation, we have to prepare for continuation and continuity. We have to continue digging deep to find ways to grow and develop. So my emancipation message today is that we have to continue digging deep to grow and develop. We can't sit back and accept that things bad and nothing is happening and do nothing. We have to be resilient. We have to find ways and means of developing and growing, because it's not just about us. It is us today, but our children tomorrow, and our grandchildren the next day, and our great-grandchildren. There's generations and generations that is to come. So the same struggles and fight of our father and our ancestors put, that resilience, that determination, that willingness to make the necessary sacrifices to bring change has to continue in us today. So happy Emancipation Day to all of the residents of Mayario Claro, and happy emancipation to all of Trinidad and Tobago.
Great. Thank you there so much. The first citizen of the Mayario Claro Regional Corporation, in the person of Alderman Raymond Cozier, the chairman of the Mayario Claro Regional Corporation. Thank you so very much for taking our call this morning, and we extend good wishes to you also, and a happy work day for you, and we thank you for taking our call this morning.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Blessings.
Yes, there we heard it. Listeners, the chairman of the Mayario Claro Regional Corporation on Corporation Week, also extending condolences to the Cadogan family, the Sydney family, the Guy family, and the passing of Miss Linda, and also extending an emancipation greeting to the region. So at this moment, we break for a commercial break, and then we'll be back shortly. So stay tuned to Seine Talk here from the capital of Mayario.
The Original Pizza Parlor presents its first ever pizza eating competition. On Monday, 1st August, at its location at number 218, Rabita Avenue, Manzanillo Road, Miaro. Come on down and see who can eat a large pizza the fastest. $80 entry fee per contestant. Winners will receive a cash prize of $1,000. Register at the Original Pizza Parlor branch or call 319-6274. Limited to 30 contestants. And your best guess on which contestant can eat a pizza the fastest will win a cash prize of $500. Lots of prizes to be won on the day. Also a day of fun for the kids with reading. Special prizes to be won. Sponsored by Pizza Parlor with live entertainment by Mayaro Radio DJs.
Yes, we are
Follow
back,
us
ladies and
on
gentlemen. We are
Instagram.
back here from the city
Mayara Radio.
of Mayaro. We are Seine Talk. And yes, we heard it. But you know, I mentioned earlier on the back page of one of today's dailies the kind of licks that our TNT Calypso girls in the sport of netball was getting at Birmingham in England. And I mentioned that steps are being taken already here in our community as it relates to fixing that. And what we're going to do, we're going to try to get on the line the main coordinator or the main coach from an exercise that took place in our community that I was privileged to get an invitation to the closing and even more so to even lend a few words. But we want to hear from the organizers of the event, and we want to make sure that you get an opportunity to hear from them what took place. So without any further ado, let me try and see if I can contact that person at this time so that we could get some information on what I'm stating or what I've stated as it relates to the fight back for what is happening to our girls currently at the Commonwealth Games in England as it relates to the sport of netball. So there is a certain primary school in our region that would have won the national. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we have on the line Miss Amina Kozier from the sporting organization Shockers of Guaguayari, who would have recently completed a netball camp. Good morning, Miss Kozier. And how are you?
Good morning. I am fine. How are you?
I am blessed. So here's what. Your organization, in collaboration with other organizations, just completed a 2-week camp in Guaguayari at the Guaguayari RC Primary School. And I mean, it was an overwhelming success as I saw at the closing yesterday. However, I know that they would have experienced some challenges. So what I wanted to get from you is basically, what is your view of the whole event now that it has been completed? And then what is the plans for next year? So could you share with us and our listeners how the 2-week event was and what are the plans for next year? Because before you come in, one of the persons there who came the first day and then came back on the second to last day could have noted to me the increase in terms of the youngsters' ability, in terms of passing, in terms of understanding the sports, positioning, and what are the roles of each of the persons in the game of netball. So could you share with our listeners what took place in terms of your 2-week camp at Guaguayari?
Okay, no problem. So good morning to the listeners. So during these 2 weeks, so we started last week Monday, and then we ended this Friday. So during these 2 weeks, firstly the camp was only catered for 30 kids within the community, children in the community. We end up with 45 children. So it was way more than we anticipated. So I'm very thankful that the youths in the community came out and they showed such interest in the sport. We got children from who can even catch a ball, so they learn how to pass, pivot, shoot. So the learning was tremendous. We realized during this camp that the youths in our community have talent still, because netball was abandoned for approximately 7 to 8 years, so you wasn't getting anyone playing netball. But during this camp, we realized that the children still love netball, and they are very talented. So it was so amazing to see. During the camp, it wasn't just about netball, Mr. Wendell. We focused on mental health. We had Miss Afia Kozier, which is my sister. She is a licensed psychologist. She was there and she taught them how to deal with different issues they have in depression, anxiety. We had Miss Zakia Gill, who also came and spoke about self-esteem. We had Miss Rena Ramki Soon, and then we also had art and craft. So I know you saw on the last day, they all had tie-dye t-shirts. So that was something we did in the camp. And we also did other arts and craft stuff. So it wasn't just about netball. It was a holistic camp, but more focused on netball. Some of the disadvantages of the camp was sponsorship. We really needed, what was a need was for food for every day, water for every day. So we find ourselves, the parents had to sponsor some days the food for some days. Sometimes they bring water, or people in the community would drop water. So I'm very thankful for them. But in the future, we would like to have better sponsorship. Um, we got balls, but it wasn't on time. We're so grateful for them, but for next time we would like to get stuff before, and also that will go to for my preparation as well. So um, with that being said, the camp was truly a success. We look forward for it next year. Um, After the camp ended, all the ladies was asking if if the camp could have been for 4 weeks instead of 2. So even if we get sponsorship for next year, that will be that could be in the plan, a longer camp. Um, Also, we would have liked to get better awards. We got sponsorship for some of the awards from All Mirrors for Some Nation, which we are grateful for. But for the other awards, we had to, ask wrong and stuff like that. So that would be better if we was getting a better sponsorship. That would have been better. But in overall, it was great. We look forward for you asked about the after this camp. We working on developing a team, going back to Shuckers netball team, because Shuckers haven't played netball for a long time as well. So we now going back to the youths. The same youths was in the camp. They shared interest in wanting to play netball, wanting to go on the under 16 national team. So from next week, that's what we're preparing for. The ladies who coached throughout this camp, they are willing to put the work in to start a netball team in Newland Square, Gary. So the future is
before,
that.
let me just, before you continue, could you just name some of these coaches? Because what happens is that sometimes we don't recognize our very own who are working so diligently for that high price of thank you. Yeah.
Yes, and and they really deserve it. They wasn't paid. So some of the coaches took time off from their job, from their families to come and really invest in the youths of our community. So I'm very grateful. So first we have Miss Monique Lafocade, which was also a national player. She also got a scholarship. She was on a scholarship at UTT, where she completed her bachelor's degree. We have Miss Nicolette, who is currently a national player as well. We have Janelle Lafocade. She also took time off from work to come in and support us. Kalana Nelson. We had Jana Edwards, Tashari George. She's also a great netball player. We have Dejane Lafocade. So we had a full team who really took the time off. Yesterday I was talking to one of them and I was like, why you all give it this energy? Because I know I came to them with the idea, but it was not my thing. They put in the same amount of energy I put in the camp. Like it was all around a good support. So they agreed that in the upcoming weeks we're going to start working on the youths in the camp who want to continue playing the sport, and we will develop a team to start back having netball within the community. We will start back going into tournaments all over.
Great.
That's the goal we have.
Great. So over that 2 weeks, now Guayagari historically has always produced top players, and you have just mentioned a number of them. But during that 2 weeks, there must be a child who exhibits that kind of futuristic goal, because right now in Birmingham, Trinidad and Tobago versus England, the score was 77-22. And I have told my listeners that work has already started on fixing that 77-22 right here in Guayagari. So I want you to give the listeners a name of a youngster that stood out in that 2 weeks who you say is
Well,
really on
I
a
think
trajectory?
I have a few youngsters that really stood out, and because we had ages 5 to 18,
Right.
so it also had the little ones and the big ones. And the older ones, one name you all should keep in mind is Andrea Sentage. She's from Nurseries. She
Wait,
is
wait,
a
wait, wait. We have to
great
say that
defender.
slowly and say that again. We want our listeners to catch it. We don't want nobody to say that they didn't hear it first year on Saint Talk. Say that name again.
Andrea Sentage. She
Nice,
is
great.
in Nurseries.
Right.
And then we have Germany Montrose.
Uh-huh.
She
Great
was
name there, Montrose, Guagari.
she
Great name.
yes.
Yes.
And on a Germany, her attitude was it have nothing called perfect, but her attitude was perfect. Like she really deserved the MVP.
Great.
Not a disrespect, not the attitude was it was so good. We also have Venny McLeod,
Uh-huh.
and we had a most improved, because as the person who had told you, it had some came in that they didn't know much, and then they left knowing a lot.
Right.
So Karina Alexis, she was one of them.
Great.
And in the smaller kids, we had children. We had Taisha Watson.
Uh-huh.
I know you would know that family. That is Raquel Watson's daughter.
Yes. And of course, every time you say Watson, we think of the top basketballer of Guagari, overall undisputed, to come out of basketball. Yes. So that is
yes. And so she had these sports in her. We also had and Riasha Stricker, her daughter is a really strong player.
Yes, and a very brave youngster. Yes.
She's very brave.
Yes.
Her name is Naya as well. And then we also had Jadel Smith. She was one of the best defenders. For her age, she would put up her hand, she would try to get the ball, she understood. And then we had one other girl named Jazara. That is Jackie granddaughter.
Right.
So all this was the youngsters. And it have so much more that, could develop into great players. Of course, we have to put in the time, we have to be dedicated, and we have to support the youth.
Yes. Well done. Congratulations on the effort and the event. And we thank you so much for taking our call this morning and sharing with us Shaka's camp at Guagari. So before we close, Ms. Koji, is there any last statements that you'd like to bring to our listening audience?
Well, I would just like to say thanks again, because we truly appreciate the support that came from the community and the parents who was really dedicated, who came and look and support. Children really need their parents, and it had a lot of parents came on days just to show up and show their kids, their children, their support. So I truly appreciate the parents who send their kids, the people of the community, Mr. Wiseman, and Miara Boys as well, because we couldn't start this without Miara Boys. So I'm truly thankful for you all, Mr. Jody Allsup, who was really dedicated in making this camp a success. And so everyone who I don't probably forget, I really we truly appreciate it. It was so, yesterday after the camp, we all sat down and we was like, wait, we really did it. And it was really a success. And we was just sharing happy moments. So that's all I want to say. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, so but before you go, we'd like to also extend to you, in terms of this emancipation period, that effort and that camp. And I put up a post on Facebook as it relates to Guagari, focused on Guagari. And I mean, to me, in terms of one of the strongest messages coming out from our region and our community on this emancipation period is that people serving people and people coming out, and as you said, the parents being part of, to me, that whole exercise of, despite the challenges that were faced by the camp, the faces of the youngsters that I saw there yesterday really gives us great pleasure that all hope is not lost and that things can be done in our community here once we collectively do them. So we thank you so very much, Ms. Amina Cozier, and of course to Mr. Jody Allsop, and by extension, Miaro Boys Sports Club, who is celebrating 22 years of existence this year. And we look forward to seeing Shuckers in the local netball league that is supposed to come up before the year end. So thank you very much, dear Ms. Cozier, for sharing your time with us this morning.
We will be coming with two teams, a youth, a youngsters, and the older girls.
Yes. Now,
so we will be there.
Right. So as a great admirer of sports of all type, and we know our great brother, Mr. Ian Edwards, has now departed. So kind of way, I have been given that rule. One of the things I wish to caution you about is that Guayagari netball teams always had the most stunning set of uniforms. They, in fact, brought the new styles of netball uniforms first in our region. Persons came out to see teams from Guayagari just because of their uniforms. So take heed in bringing your two teams, and keep in mind that your look is also would be judged. So thank you again for sharing your time. And have a great day, Miss Amina Cozier. Thank you so much, and congratulations to Shuckers and the 2022 camp.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Great. Here we heard it, ladies and gentlemen. That was one of the, to say nicest is an understatement. That is one of the things, because you would have heard right here on this program and on this Emancipation Time, I kind of bring them up. The most iconic building in our region, in my view, and of course the number one building from Abyssinia to the Long Bridge to Food Crop, the most iconic building is the Miaro Village Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, the Miaro Village Hall was not built with any contribution from any multinational corporation. It was not built with any gifts from it. It was built through the blood, sweat, and tears of members of the community. That is why when I see a popper ball, which you don't see so much of, I buy it and I eat it in slow motion. Because when I eat a popper ball, I remember the Miaro Village Hall. A real tambran ball, not the sugar ball. We're not talking about sugar ball. A tambran ball. Now, 5 different types of sugar cake. And of course, you know, real Miaronians, you know which sugar cake they like? The one with the brown sugar, where you cut the coconut big, and you put your spices on top and the sugar cake come out brown and thing. That is real. This pink white sugar cake with white sugar and pink and yellow sugar cake, that is for all your tourists. Real Miaronians, we want that brown big piece of coconut sugar cake. Those are the things that reminds me of the Miaro Village Hall, which was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of the people, the most iconic building in our region. And I am saying that camp of Shuckers in Guayagari, and that is why it was so easy for Miaro Boys to support that initiative too, is that it reminded us that here's what, we just started the longest journey begins with the first step. And once you start, don't worry, come on board once there's that level of honesty and really trying to add value. So hats off to Shuckers and all the coaches and persons who would have participated in that camp for our youngsters. And if you don't believe me, just look at the pictures and see and look at the faces of the youngsters who would have attended that camp. And I am telling you, come Tuesday morning, Miss Amina and her team of persons and coaches will be in trouble, because these youngsters is going to say, Miss, what happened? We still on holiday, school hasn't opened. That ain't nothing if we didn't have the camp. That ain't nothing if we don't have water. We could come out. Ask somebody if they could come now. Because you would have sparked, and as it is stated, once the mind is stretched, it can't go back. So you would have opened up their minds to a game. And keep in mind, Guayagari RSC School have won the National Primary School Netball on 3 occasions. And as it relates to cricket, now this is one and in fact, I'm not making any apologies. This is plain talk. This is sane talk. We're in the sane and we talking. We don't hold back. When Guayagari RSC went to the finals against a team from, I think it's Vancouver, and that team came to the Oval with about 4 busloads of spectators. granny in her sari and the tasaban, and you seen uncle that had to get help and come to sit down. And if you hear noise from that primary school, and Mr. Wendell Perez organized 2 maxis to go to Newlands Junction and pack up, to take spectators down to the Oval to support our youngsters in the primary school cricket finals. I did something that I don't do. I asked for time off, took the government vehicle, and head to the Oval to support my boys. And when I got there, I could have counted on I would have needed both hands the amount of persons from our community that came down to support our boys. And that is where I and Mr. Wiseman break ban. Because, well, anyway, however, our boys were shocked of the magnitude of the event and the kind of support to the next team. And you were seeing that they were playing in a bit of fear, a little bit timid. Because these same youngsters, when you look at them on the ground in La Savande, in Guayagari, these youngsters can play. And on that day, they were, because of the support of the other side, they were seeing them being a little bit timid. And I am so, one of the points coming out of the interview just a while ago, where we had a counselor dealing with mental health and in terms of the directions of youngsters dealing with conflicts, dealing with, because children are under so much pressure that we sometimes take it for granted. And the fact that that camp had a licensed professional counselor who could have spoken to the youngsters in terms of guidance and in terms of dealing with challenges that are coming their way. Some of them we take for granted. So if you would have seen our youngsters at the Oval, just walking out to go to the middle of the field, and you could have seen where they were stating in their mind, I wish the ground could open up and swallow me at this time. So I'm saying all that to say this. Going forward, when our youngsters, because sports will be opening back up in this term, when our youngsters again qualify to play outside of our community, what would have been shown by our parents for our young girls in that camp, I want to put it on Shockers to be the mouthpiece to say, here what's happening. We go in. And in fact, the netball team going and be a cheerleading team for our youngsters at that level. So never again will our youngsters be playing outside of our region and do not have that kind of support. Right? Remember when Guaya United played Point Fortin, right? In the knockout in Point Fortin, every house in Guayagari, Miaro, you could have walked in because nobody was home. The island tilted, Point lean, because everybody from this side of the island went down to Point Fortin. And we, in fact, Guaya United make Point Fortin residents leave Mahaika Oval first. After the game was only people from Miara and Guaya in Mahaika Oval. All the Point people going home. Right? So never, that is the kind of atmosphere when our youngsters are playing that we want to create going forward. So we now break for a commercial break and we'll come back with some music as we think, because funny how time flies when we're having fun.
The Original Pizza Parlor presents its first ever pizza eating competition. On Monday, 1st August, at its location at number 218, Rabita Avenue, Manzanillo Road, Miaro. Come on down and see who can eat a large pizza the fastest. $80 entry fee per contestant. Winners will receive a cash prize of $1,000. Register at the Original Pizza Parlor branch or call 319-6274. Limited to 30 contestants. And your best guess on which contestant can eat a pizza the fastest will win a cash prize of $500. Lots of prizes to be won on the day. Also a day of fun for the kids with reading. Special prizes to be won. Sponsored by Pizza Parlor with live entertainment by Mayara Radio DJs.
Mayara Radio, taking Mayaro to the
Follow
world.
us on Instagram. Mayara Radio. Mayaro Radio. Request a song and interact with the DJ. Mayaro Radio taking Mayaro to the world. We know Mayaro!
Let's show them we're not weak. We'll find us.
Follow us on Instagram. Mayaro Radio.
Mayaro Radio, taking Mayaro to the world.
Big blood movements.
This is everyone picking up Mayaro Radio.
Aye, you're tuned in to Mayaro Radio. What we say? Everybody have a choice.
Mayaro Radio. Mayaro Radio.
Mayaro Radio.
On Instagram. Mayaro Radio. Follow us on all social media platforms at Mayaro Radio. Download the app in the iOS App Store and Google Play.
Rhythm to make the soul of our people dance. Yes, we must never ever forget the atrocities of that thing called slavery, when you as a person was deemed to be less than a human being and your rights and privilege was non-existent, where you were considered a property. And they are telling us to bypass and look forward. No. That's what I'm saying. My emancipation message 2022, one word, reparation. You must be compensated for what would have been done, because persons were compensated for less. All right? And I'm telling you, packed up and left Haiti, moved to New Orleans, were given land in New Orleans to start, and then Haiti have to pay you for leaving Miami, which ended just recently. So we want our compensation for free labor. We want our compensation for taking us illegally from our motherland, bringing us here and forcing us to work. So my emancipation message 2022, reparation. What's happening in Mayaro this weekend? Okay, of course, we know that pizza eating competition that will be taking place on Monday the 1st from the morning, and that's, I think, from 9 a.m. We have entertainment, of course. Mayaro Radio will be live on scene with its DJs, music. Of course, you know I have a couple of contestants coming to participate there. And remember, that pizza place takes pizza to another level. All right. In other words, you can even invent your pizzas, and there are some pizzas there that are unique only to that pizza parlor. So see you there. Come vibes. We eat some pizza. We hang out. We take in the competition before we move on to the most beautiful beach, 18 miles of pristine beachfront. And then later on that evening, commencing from I think 12 or 1, there's also the Poblution Family Day at the Mayaro Government Primary School Recreation Ground. And that continues on Emancipation Day, I think either from 12 or from 1. All right, and so that would be followed. Also, of course, you know that our beaches and our roast fish vendors, and you know you can get roast fish even at Bristol, at St. Anne's, even at Guayagari. So all over our region. And of course, you know, Ottawa being the Mecca, and Bodo. Bam, Bodo. So those are some of the activities happening this morning. We must give a shout out to one of our very own, our brother who is tuned in, and that is Mr. Nicholas Cliff. And we hope that a speedy recovery to you, brother. You know that our brother was at the hospital spending some days, and he is on the way to recovery, and of course he's tuned in. So special good morning to you, brother. Speedy recovery. That is, of course, known as PNM Cliff, known as Mr. Patrick Manning, known as just A. Right. So speedy recovery to you, brother, and get up and get going. So Wednesday this week, listeners, culminated on the 32nd anniversary of a dark period in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And I just wanted to wrap up with some short comments. And I hope persons would have visited the Red House, because there was an exhibition on display. And I hope persons are really thinking of getting a copy of the book from the retired soldier on the events of that day. But before I make that comment, I want you to take in, I think now it's Dr. David Ruther. So I just want you to take in Dr. David Ruther, and I'll bring a comment on that shortly. So just take in Dr. David Ruther with 1990.
nuclear warhead.
My Arrow Radio, taking my arrow to the world.
And there's an army in retreat. I see the old colonials of Europe become united, and perestroika fills the street.
Follow us on all social media platforms at May Arrow Radio. Download the app in the iOS App Store and Google Play.
Other way around. Is this the calm before the hellfire? Or is our tomorrow really heaven bound? But 1990, the blood flows in Bogota, and from Beirut to Johannesburg, the rivers don't stop. 1990, third world children still wander in their boats, their jungles, their deserts, until they drown. It is strange, more we change, rearrange. Everything just seems the same as we move into the next century. 1990, please make a liar of me. Oh, 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 and what did we do that day? Oh, 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 and what did we do that day? Oh, 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 and what did we do that day? There is a black man on the run through a lonely Beijing street. There he goes, my God, he's running again. This time through Brooklyn's Howard Beach. And there he goes again through the streets of Soweto. I'm saying, so this story goes. And a man they call Alabama shrugs and says, deja vu, I suppose. 1990, will our children stand firm, or will they keep running and running and running till the end of time? 1990, will hands of love ever reach out, or will they be there just to strengthen the crime? It is strange, more we change, rearrange. Ooh, everything just seems the same as we move into the next century. 1990, please make a liar of me. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Eastern Europe seems like Parliament was just different color, different place, different name, but people still shouting power.
Follow us on all social media platforms at May Arrow Radio. Download the app in the iOS App Store and Google Play.
Even Tiananmen Square seemed like Woodstock until the tanks began
Yes,
to play.
and as said, my emancipation message continues very short. We must be compensated as a people. We must be shown tangible compensation for what our persons would have suffered for more than 400 years, and more than 400 million Africans would have died during the course of slavery. We must never, ever, ever forget. I am not talking about feeling sorry for oneself or not looking forward or not working in terms of empowering one's self. All I am stating is that how the others are, so it should be for us. Because in the scriptures it teaches that we were all created in the image and likeness of the Creator, and we are all equal before God. So in fact, you calling for your equality is just normal, right? So we're reminded that the first globally traded commodity on planet Earth was the African man. And of course, while others were compensated for their small losses, we who suffered the greatest loss of all have not been so compensated. And all we ask is for, as the Sister Ella Andel stated, is for bread, peace, and justice. For bread, peace, and justice. At this time, we just want to extend condolences to one of our dear brothers coming from the community of Mafeking, Mr. Francis, that's Mark Francis, and the passing of his son. Condolences to you from us here at St. Talk and Mayaro Radio. We know that these are times that there is nothing prepared that can prepare you for such. And grieving is a natural aspect of things, and it's something that one has to deal with. So condolences to you, Mr. Francis, on the passing, and in fact to the entire Francis family on the passing of your son. And again, to the Cadogan family, yes, to Tanj, to Ricky, to his sister, guys, Sydney's overall, on the passing of one of the icons of the family. And oh my gosh, can that person tell a story when she gives you the history, and I mean all parts of the history, the good parts, the not so good parts, and of course the nice juicy parts. Yes, she can give you all in terms of the history of life in Abyssinia, and in fact across Gregory, and as things closing. So condolences out to the family on the passing of our dear sister. At this point in time, funeral arrangements have not been announced, so I can't give any of that. I don't have any funeral arrangement as it relates to our brother, Mr. Francis, on the passing of his son. So we don't have those funeral arrangements, but we extend condolences to these persons and their families. And we know that it's a difficult time, and we wish you all the best and God's speed and God's love as you go through this point in time. So I just played 1990, and 32 years ago, Trinidad and Tobago would have been, and those of us who would have been around would remember, as of 6 o'clock this evening, the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has been overthrown, and the authority is temporary, and no man has authority, only given authority for a short space of time by our brother Yassim Abubakar, who passed a short while ago. And 114 youngsters was part. So it was TTT, the Red House. There was also some buildings behind TTT, and where they would have stormed the parliament and took members of parliament hostage. And we know at that point in time, Minister Tony was on the floor, and when he asking like, who is your leader? And then coming out of that, one of our leaders at that point in time statement will resonate for time immemorial, and that is attack with full force. And of course, even though he was shot, Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson, the only citizen who would have held the position of Chief Secretary, Prime Minister, and President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and there is no other person will ever be able to do that, was the current Prime Minister at that time. And you know that there were a number of things. So what is happening as 32 years has gone by? We know our brother Wendell Eversley and his concerns and recognition of that attempted coup, and what would have come out of it, and recognition by the state of that incident and his calls. But retired soldier would have written a book that was launched this year, giving an insight as it relates to the events of 1990. We know there are a number of things that would have been done, and still today there is not an exact clear position on what took place and exactly why, as it relates to what was happening at the point of time within TNT. And what we know, and what I can say boldly, and is what I believe, is that I know, based on the improvements as it relates to our national security apparatus, something of that nature can never, ever happen again. While there may be persons within our community, with persons in our nation, who sometimes try to echo the sentiments of something like that happening, rest assured, citizens, nothing even remotely close to that can take place in Trinidad and Tobago again. While there are some currently who are promoting some protests in a negative way because it is enshrined within the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago that you as a citizen have the right to protest. But there is a process that must be followed, and in order to protest a situation, it makes no sense by making your current situation worse. So destroying roads across our nation to say that the road are good is an oxymoron. You are protesting about the condition of the road, which I support. The condition of the road, and in particular, leaving Miaro to go to Guayari, right? It is, anyway, we see some little work starting, but it is not quick enough, not long enough, right? And Wasa, no, what's the correct pronunciation? Wasa. Wasa or Wasa? Anyway, what? Workers Against Asphalt, I think what the acronym WASA stands for. Right. Anyhow, but we need to get some work as it relates to the roads. So that doesn't make any sense. So 1990 must never happen again. However, the consciousness of understanding what's happening, sometimes it is daunted, it is taken away, and we put the children with the tablets and the computer and the video games and the TV, and we don't sit and talk. So they end up being lost. And we know what are the new shows. What that show called? Something with Jurassic Park, where they're trying to normalize. Alternative lifestyles. Come on, guys. We are not for that. Nature and natural. All right? What the brother said in the African nation, he will accept that way of life if two men is locked up in a room and for a weekend and one of them comes out pregnant, he's on board. If two men lock up in a room for 5 days and after that none of them come out pregnant, until that changes, he will then accept that. So that alternative lifestyle that they're trying to force on our children, please monitor what they are looking at and stop letting them be grown up by TV. So, funny how time flies. Now, in closing, I have a couple minutes before we close. Yeah, before we close, and before we close, I have to touch two songs. One of our brothers, right, is the best dressed calypsonian of all time. That's Mr. Pope of Point Fortin. And then close with a little modern thing. And I want you to take in the lyrics of these two songs. We're going to start off with Black is Beautiful, as with Emancipation. And then we're going to close off with Borderline. But don't take in the music too much of Borderline, which is extremely great. I want you to take in the lyrics. And no, these artists aren't from Jamaica who are singing Borderline. Eh? These are our local artists. I want you to take in Borderline. So here, let's hear a few lines on Black is Beautiful, and Borderline comes in after to close off our program of Seine Talk on today, July 30th, 2022. For all the comments, Anita Brown, Errol Blake, Book, thank you for tuning in. And of course, our listeners in Carnage, big up to the Carnage crew who are tuned in. Good morning to you here from Miaro Radio, from the city of Miaro, and for the diaspora across the globe. To all our Miaronians tuned in all over the world, we say great good morning to you, and we look out to hearing from you. So, Black is Beautiful, followed by Borderline.
Many years it took. Now we found the natural look. Many years it took us to get this natural look. Suddenly, out of the blue, This thing has struck like something new. Everybody young and old going out for and telling the world. If you hear them,
black is beautiful.
Look at the gloss.
Black is beautiful.
It's the texture of course. Lift your head like me. You got to wear your color with dignity. How it go now?
Black is beautiful.
I said to sing it along.
Black is beautiful.
Say I'm black and proud. It's high time that we get rid of the old slave mentality. It's quite important, simple though it seems. We have achieved what once was just a dream. We have been imitating in the past. Now we have found our very own at last. No more hot comb to press we hear. No more bleach cream to make us fair. Proudly I say without pretext, no more inferiority complex. Because you know that
black is beautiful.
Look at the shine.
Black is beautiful.
It's yours and mine. Lift your head like me. You got to wear the color with dignity. How it go now?
Black is beautiful.
I said to sing it along.
Black is beautiful.
Say I'm black and proud. It's high time that we get rid of the old slave mentality. My brother, why do you deny the fact? When someone says that you are black, you are very clear, I do agree. But don't you know your color just like me? There is no in-between in race. One has to know his rightful place. To live that light's clear to me, you are ashamed of your ancestry. But don't you know that?
On Instagram.
Look at the glass. It's your texture, of course. Lift your head like me. You got to wear the color with dignity. How it go now?
Black is beautiful.
I said to sing it along.
Black is beautiful.
Say I'm black and proud. It's high time that we get rid of the old slave mentality.
My Arrow Radio, taking my arrow to the world.
Community. Consider the hot spot. How different you've become. Everything is gone. The children no longer have any fun. Time for the war to dawn. Mr. King, Pirate Family. Yeah. When Nelson war in John and Picton war Dan Kellyman. Yeah, picking up shells was never part of my plan. Put down the guns, we need some love in the land. When Nelson war in John and Picton war Dan.
Follow us on all social media platforms at May Arrow Radio. Download the app in the iOS App Store and Google Play.
Heidi, you're tuned in to May Arrow Radio. What we say? Everybody have a choice. May Arrow has my choice.
I don't want them going up down here that spearman is well. Watch out when you come cross. No, you got to move fast. If you stick a boom blast, shots first, questions last.
This is My Arrow Radio.
The boiling hot sun, bare face without mask. Well, black gate man, John man and black gate man was one. Now when you with them buck up is a rapper pam pam. Then we lick out your foresight and your wisdom. When Nelson war in John and Picton war Dan Kellyman. Yeah, picking up shells was never part of my plan. Put down the guns, you need some love in the land. When Nelson war in John and Picton war Dan Kellyman. Yeah, picking up shells was never part of my plan. All up until my once loving community. Consider the hot spot. How different you've become. Everything is gone.
My Arrow Radio, taking my arrow to the world.
Time for the war to dawn. Mr. King, Pirate Family. Yeah. When Nelson war in John and Picton war Dan Kellyman. Yeah, picking up shells was never part of my plan. Put down the guns, we need some love in the land. When Nelson war in
there will be a special delivery coming up directly after St. Tokia, live from the city of Miaru. And of course, that special delivery comes with an additional package because the delivery will be coming at you sharp and clean. So look out and stay tuned. Keep that dial set right here. Keep tuned in to Miaru Radio as we bring you it live on this Emancipation Weekend, where we understand where we are, where we're going, because in order to know where you're going, you must know where you came from. So this is Saint Talk out for today, Saturday 30th. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next Saturday.
Black Gate man don't go over John. Your man when John man and Black Gate man was one. Now when we with them buck up is a rapper pam pam, then we
the original Pizza Parlor presents its first ever pizza eating competition. On Monday, 1st August, at its location at number 218, Rabita Avenue, Manzanillo Road, Miaro. Come on down and see who can eat a large pizza the fastest. $80 entry fee per contestant. Winners will receive a cash prize of $1,000. Register at the original Pizza Parlor branch or call 319-6274. Limited to 30 contestants. And your best guess on which contestant can eat a pizza the fastest will win a cash prize of $500. Lots of prizes to be won on the day. Also a day of fun for the kids with reading. Special prizes to be won. Sponsored by Pizza Parlor with live entertainment by Mayaro Radio DJs.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Badness out of style. Hey yo, youth man, give me that paper. What?
Follow us on Instagram at Mayaro Radio.
Man fear to walk down in the next man vicinity is borderline. Why all the Satan wickedness in the poor man community is borderline. Say man and man fear to walk down in the next man vicinity is borderline.
Mayaro Radio.